Can you solve all these acids and bases questions? pH 7. Bravo, acids is the answer. You're right. Bases is the correct answer. Acids are. Valid point. Soar is true. Bases are. Clear logic. Your choice slippery is sound. Bases feel. Strong choice. Slippery is the right answer. Acids feel. Right again. Like water is a valid answer. Tastes are. Perfect. Acid is the correct choice. Enzymes are. Well reasoned. Proteins is the correct choice. Acids taste. Excellent choice. SAR is the right answer. Protein donor. Right choice. Acids is the best answer. Bases taste. Great thinking. Bitter is the right choice. Acids change. Well picked. Blue litmus to red is the correct answer. Matter can be. Smart move. Elements or compounds is an accurate answer. Weak acids are. Nicely done. 4-6 is a solid answer. Tastes bitter. Good job. Bases works well here. Bases are dash. On track. Torsen is the correct answer. Feels slippery. Sharp thinking. Bases is the right choice. Proton acceptor. Smart pick. Bases is the correct choice. Acids have a. Exactly. Less than 7 makes sense. Fidge less than 7. Nice selection. Acids is the correct and valid answer. Acids taste dash. Solid response. Sword is a valid choice. In water bases. You chose our proton acceptors. And it is correct. Strong acids are. Good thinking. Strong electrolytes is the right answer. Strong bases are. Correct. Strong electrolytes is the right answer. Bases taste very. Nice work. You chose bitter and it is correct. Dash tastes sour. Correct response. Acids is the most accurate answer. What tastes sour? You got it? Your choice acid is right. Has a sour taste. Great job. Acids is the accurate answer. Most bases taste. Well done. Bitter is the right choice. Acids have a dash. Excellent. Sour taste is a brilliant choice. Dash are slippery. Smart pick. Bases is the correct choice. Bases release dash. Excellent choice. Hydroxide ions is the right answer. Acids release dash. Bravo. Hydrogen ions is the answer. Bases have a feature of. On track. More than 7 is the correct answer. Turns litmus blue. Correct. Bases is the right answer. K stands for dash. Good thinking. Acid dissociation constant is the right answer. Arrhenius bases are. Great job. O donors is the accurate answer. Dash feels slippery. Great thinking. Bases is the right choice. Detergents are dash. Correct response. Bases is the most accurate answer. How do acids taste? Perfect. Sour is the correct choice. What tastes bitter? You chose bases, and it is correct. Arrhenius acids are. Exactly. H plus donors make sense. On the vast scale are? Well done. Bases is the right choice. Taste of weak acids. Clear logic. Your choice sour is sound. Acid plus base makes? Nicely done. Water and salt is a solid answer. What is no too cold? You're right. Nitrous acid is the correct answer. Acids and bases both. Good job. Conduct electric current works well here. Which are corrosive? Sharp thinking. Both are corrosive is the right choice. Bases have a dash. Right again. Greater than 7 is a valid answer. Metal oxides are dash. Solid response. Bases only is a valid choice. Turns blue litmus red. Valid point. Acid is true. Bronsted bases are H+. Smart move. Acceptors is an accurate answer. Acids typically taste. Well picked. Sour is the correct answer. Dash are electrolytes. Strong choice. All is the right answer. Base is soluble in water. Well reasoned. Alkalis is the correct choice. Dash have a sour taste. Right choice. Acids is the best answer. Strong acids will dash. Nice work. You chose easily lose H+, and it is correct. What turns litmus red? Excellent. Acids is a brilliant choice. Contained in most bases. You got it. Your choice, hydroxide ions, is right. These can be corrosive. Nice selection. Acids and bases is the correct and valid answer. Can conduct electricity? Right choice. Both is the best answer. Which are strong bases? Excellent choice. Say2 is the right answer. Turns litmus paper blue. You chose bases. And it is correct. Which is king of acids? Calciphor is the answer. Bases tend to taste dash. Excellent. Bitter is a brilliant choice. Acids contain a dash ons. Nicely done. H+ is a solid answer. Has a phi greater than 7. Strong choice. Bases is the right answer. Bronsted lauryl acids are. Clear logic. Your choice H+ acceptors is sound. Bases are dash in taste. Nice work. You chose bitter, and it is correct. Bases dash a proton. Well reasoned. Receive is the correct choice. Acids have a that is. Good thinking. 1 to 7 is the right answer. Acids have a dash taste. Sharp thinking. Sour is the right choice. Most soft drinks contain. Perfect. Acids is the correct choice. An acid's fitch is between. Solid response. 0 to 6 is a valid choice. All acids have a pH value. Well done. Below 7 is the right choice. What do acids taste like? Great job. Sour is the accurate answer. Oxides and hydroxides are. On track, bases is the correct answer. In water, bases form dash. Right again. Hydroxide ions is a valid answer, which has a bitter taste. You got it. Your choice base is right. What do acids react with? Great thinking. Metals and carbonates is the right choice. Carbohydrates are made of. Correct response. Simple sugars is the most accurate answer. Strong acids and bases are. Exactly. Completely ionized in water makes sense. Basic oxides are formed by. Good job. Metals works well here. Hydrogen ion concentration. Well picked. pH is the correct answer. These conduct electricity. Smart pick. Acids and bases is the correct choice. pH range of acids are dash. You're right. 06 is the correct answer. The taste of acids is dash. Smart move. Sour is an accurate answer. The FESH scale 814 are dash. Nice selection. Bases is the correct and valid answer. What are acids and alkalis? Correct. Corrosive is the right answer. Acids change red litmus too. Valid point. No change is true. All acids provide dash ons. You're right. Hydrogen is the correct answer. Dash make up carbohydrates. Nice work. You chose simple sugars and it is correct. Turns phenolphthalein pink. Bravo, bases is the answer. Bases change blue litmus too. Solid response. No change is a valid choice. What is the taste of acids? Nicely done. Sour is a solid answer. Which chemical tastes sour? Great job. Acids is the accurate answer. Which has a less than 7? Excellent. Acids is a brilliant choice. Loaf scales indicate dash. Clear logic. Your choice strong acids is sound. Acids turn blue litmus dash. Smart pick. Red is the correct choice. What does acids range from? Right again. 069 is a valid answer. Bases will turn litmus paper. Excellent choice. Blue is the right answer. Water-soluble bases are dash. Right choice. Alkalis is the best answer. Which is the stronger acids? Valid point. pH 1 is true. Acids make litmus paper turn. Great thinking. Red is the right choice. Phenolphthalein turns red in. Well picked. Bases is the correct answer. Acids turn litmus paper dash. On track. Red is the correct answer. Bases can be referred to as. Nice selection. Proton acceptors is the correct and valid answer. Bleach and oven cleaner are. correct. Strong bases is the right answer. Dash are made of fatty acids. Well done. Lipids is the right choice. What pH values do bases have? Smart move. 814 is an accurate answer. High pH numbers indicate dash. You got it? Your choice strong bases is right. Bases have a pH value of dash. Perfect. More than 7 is the correct choice. Which has a slippery texture? Sharp thinking. Bases is the right choice. Acids are neutralized by dash. You chose bases, and it is correct. Proton donors are called dash. Exactly. Acids make sense. Acids have a Flay range of dash. Strong choice. 0169 is the right answer. Dissociate partially in water. Correct response. Weak acids and bases is the most accurate answer. Bases have lots of dash ions. Good job. Hydroxide works well here. Feeling slippery is a trade-off. Good thinking. Bases is the right answer. Bases contain excess dash ions. Well reasoned. Hydroxide is the correct choice. Acids are substances with a Fe. Good job. Less than 7 works well here. Dissociate completely in water. Great thinking. Strong acids and bases is the right choice. Arrhenius bases are defined as. Excellent. O donors is a brilliant choice. Bases are dash on the Fe scale. Clear logic. Your choice 714 is sound. What are soluble bases called? You're right. Alkalis is the correct answer. Forms hydronium ions in water. Correct response. Acids is the most accurate answer. Acids react with bases to form. Nice work. You chose water and a salt, and it is correct. Most foods would be considered. You got it. Your choice acids is right. Range of solution between 0-2. Solid response. Peach is a valid choice. What is the far range of acids? Valid point. 0 to 6.9 is true. Dash turns blue litmus paper red. Nice selection. Acids is the correct and valid answer. Acids release what in solution? Perfect. H+ is the correct choice. The type of ion found in bases. Right again. Hydroxide ions is a valid answer. Which ion do all acids contain? Right choice. H+ is the best answer. What ion do most bases contain? Nicely done. O is a solid answer. Arrhenius bases can be found on. You chose table O, and it is correct. On the Faiche scale represents dash. Well picked. Acids is the correct answer. These tend to react with metals. Well reasoned. Acids is the correct choice. Acids dissolve in water to give. Smart pick. H+ ions is the correct choice. What is another name for bases? Sharp thinking. Alkaline is the right choice. Bases turn red litmus paper dash. Correct. Blue is the right answer. A measurement of acids and bases. Good thinking. pH scale is the right answer. A sour taste is associated with. Exactly. Acids make sense. Essential for humans and animals. Well done. Salts is the right choice. What ion is found in most bases? Bravo. O is the answer. Most household cleaners are dash. Smart move. Bases is an accurate answer. Which ion can be found in bases? Strong choice. O is the right answer. Acids turn dash litmus paper red. Great job. Blue is the accurate answer. What is the charge of acids on? On track, H+ is the correct answer. Changes the color of indicators. Excellent choice. All is the right answer. Color of methyl orange in acids. Right again. Red is a valid answer. Which of the following are acids? Sharp thinking. Vinegar is the right choice. Which has a fetch is greater than 7? Well picked. Bases is the correct answer. Acids turn blue litmus paper. Nicely done. Red is a solid answer. Alkaline is another word for dash. Good thinking. Bases is the right answer. On the scale, acids range from. Smart move. 0.7 is an accurate answer. Which would make blue litmus red? Solid response. Acids is a valid choice. Formed when bases react with acids. Exactly. Neutral makes sense. Dash are electrolytes in solution. Bravo. Both acids and bases is the answer. When found in food, bases are dash. Correct response. Bitter is the most accurate answer. Ammonia and baking soda are common. On track. Bases is the correct answer. Causes a color change in pH paper. Valid point. Both acids and bases is true. All the following are bases except. Nice work. You chose lemon juice and it is correct. Bases have fast numbers dash than 7. Great job. Greater is the accurate answer. Grace and oil are soluble in dash. Correct. Bases is the right answer. Which solution has a bitter taste? Well done. Bases is the right choice. What are some properties of acids? Right choice. Soar, react with metal is the best answer. The characteristic ion of acids is? Nice selection. Hydrogen ion is the correct and valid answer. What is the term for soluble bases? Excellent. Alkalis is a brilliant choice. What is one characteristic of bases? Good job. Bitter taste works well here. Proton H+ acceptors are called dash. Clear logic. Your choice bases is sound. Aqueous solutions of acids or bases. Well reasoned. Conduct electricity is the correct choice. These are called proton acceptors. Great thinking. Bases is the right choice. The fetch of all acids will be between. Excellent choice. Zo7 is the right answer. Strong dash produce potash in solution. Smart pick. Bases O is the correct choice. Homogeneous mixtures are also called. Strong choice. Solutions is the right answer. Strong acids are found near what Phi? Perfect. Zo is the correct choice. Where do bases fall on the phase scale? You got it. Your choice 714 is right. What type of ions do acids give off? You chose hydronium and hydrogen, and it is correct. Acids turn litmus paper what color? You're right. Red is the correct answer. Forms hydroxide ions in water. Good job. Bases works well here. What completely ionizes in solution? Smart move. Strong acids is an accurate answer. There are two types of acids and bases. Excellent choice. Strong and weak is the right answer. What do bases produce in a solution? On track. O is the correct answer. Bases cause phenolphthalein to turn. Excellent. Violet is a brilliant choice. Acids are dash to the tongue. Nice selection. Soar is the correct and valid answer. On the phase scale, acids are found dash. You got it? Your choice 16 is right. The solvent in all acids and bases is right again. Water is a valid answer. Acids are what range on the Fast scale? Bravo 0699 is the answer. Weaker bases have a Fa closer to dash. Perfect. 8 is the correct choice. Acids contain an excess of which ion? Exactly. H plus makes sense. Bronsted-Lowry stated that bases are. Great thinking. Hydrogen receivers is the right choice. Which characteristic describes bases? Sharp thinking. Feel slippery is the right choice. A bitter taste is a characteristic of. Right choice. Bases is the best answer. What is the pH value range for bases? Solid response. 7 to 14 is a valid choice. This type of solutions tastes bitter. Clear logic. Your choice basis is sound. Acids that ionize completely are dash. Smart pick. Strong acids is the correct choice. Which are more corrosive with metals? Nicely done. Both are corrosive is a solid answer. Bases change color of blue litmus too. You chose no change, and it is correct. Which element is common to all acids? Well done. Hydrogen is the right choice. The negative ion found in bases is there. Well picked. Hydroxide ion is the correct answer. What kind of taste do most acids have? Good thinking. Sour is the right answer. Bases release this ion into a solution. Correct response. Hydroxide ions is the most accurate answer. Substance that minimizes changes in Ph. Valid point. Buffers is true. Which of the substances are corrosive? Strong choice. Acids and bases is the right answer. Acids will turn blue litmus paper dash. Well reasoned. Red is the correct choice.
Acids contain H+ and bases contain O.
Great job. Arrhenius is the accurate answer.
Which phi range describes strong acids?
Correct. Zo4 is the right answer.
Which statement about alkalis is true?
You're right. They are all bases is the correct answer.
NO3 and F are examples of dash.
Nice work. You chose acids and it is correct.
Acids really dash as ions in a solution.
Exactly. Hydrogen makes sense.
Which list contains only strong acids?
You chose the xylnothextuso, and it is correct. On the phase scale, what numbers are acids?
Smart move.
Zo7 is an accurate answer.
What numbers on the Fitch scale are acids?
Excellent choice. Zo6 is the right answer.
Stronger acids have a closer to dash.
Great thinking. Zo is the right choice.
Acids react with metals to produce dash.
You got it. Your choice, hydrogen gas, is right.
Which numbers on a scale show acids?
Well done. Zo6 is the right choice.
All oxides and hydroxides of metals are.
Excellent. Bases is a brilliant choice.
Reacts with metals to form hydrogen gas. Solid response.
Acids is a valid choice.
When dissolved in water, all acids will.
On track. Conduct electricity is the correct answer.
A neutralization reaction produces dash.
Nicely done. Neutral water is a solid answer.
One property of acids is that they taste.
Well picked. Sour is the correct answer.
Which of the following are electrolytes?
Valid point. Both acids and bases is true.
Where are bases located on the phase scale?
Perfect. 7001-14 is the correct choice. Which type of solution has a sour taste? Nice work. You chose acid and it is correct.
pH indicator for bases from dash to dash.
Nice selection. 814 is the correct and valid answer.
A protein is made of smaller units called.
Clear logic. Your choice amino acids is sound.
Which two metals do not react with acids?
Correct response. Platinum and gold is the most accurate answer. Methyl orange gives this color in bases. Well reasoned. Yellow is the correct choice. Name an indicator used to test for acids. You're right. Litmus paper is the correct answer.
What type of substances are Liber and PPL3?
Strong choice. Neither is the right answer. Acids form dash ions in a water solution. Right choice. Hydronium is the best answer.
The following are related to bases except.
Sharp thinking. pH 7 is the right choice. Almost all acids contain the element dash. Right again. Hydrogen is a valid answer.
These are chemicals that resist phase change.
Bravo. Buffers is the answer.
Things you eat are more likely to be dash.
Great job. Acids is the accurate answer. Dash form hydronium ion with water.
Good job. Acids works well here. Bases are chemical substances that change. Good thinking. Red litmus paper blue is the right answer. Can ionize to release 3 hydrogen atoms. Smart pick. Triprotic acids is the correct choice. All of the following are acids except dash.
Correct. Milk is the right answer.
What part of the scale describes acids? Clear logic. Your choice CO7 is sound. Strong acids and strong bases dash ionize? Correct. Completely is the right answer. Which chemical feels slippery on the skin? Nice selection. Bases is the correct and valid answer. What ion is produced by acids in solution? Smart pick. Hydrogen H+ is the correct choice. Acids and bases are which phase of matter? Right again. Liquid is a valid answer. Which of the following acids is strongest? You chose sulfuric acid, and it is correct. When found in food, acids often taste dash. Excellent choice. Sour is the right answer. Which of these is not a property of acids? Nicely done. Taste bitter is a solid answer. What are bases in terms of proton transfer? Smart move. Proton acceptors is an accurate answer. Binary acids start with the prefix dash. Good job. Hydro works well here. Liquids that resist large changes in phase are. Good thinking. Buffers is the right answer. What do acids and bases form in a solution? You're right. Electrolytes is the correct answer. Which is correct? Sulfuric acids makes dash. Well picked. Salts called sulfates is the correct answer. Which compounds can be classified as acids? Excellent. Haber and Tusophore is a brilliant choice. Turns Fest paper and universal indicator blue. Exactly. Bases make sense. What type of ions do bases contain more of? Valid point. Always true. The strongest bases have pH values close to. Well reasoned. 14 is the correct choice. Which type of solution has a slippery feel? Sharp thinking. Bases is the right choice. Acids change blue litmus paper from blue too. Nice work. You chose red and it is correct. Acids and bases are measured on what scale? Strong choice. Qui scale is the right answer. What are the 3 types of reactions of acids?
Perfect. Base, metal, carbonate is the correct choice.
When acids react with carbonates, they form. Correct response. All of the above is the most accurate answer. What is produced when S through plus reacts with O? Great job. Water is the accurate answer. When dissolved in water, acids produce the dash.
Solid response. Hydrogen ions is a valid choice.
Acids dissociate in water to form a through plus ions. Right choice. True is the best answer. Which of the following has all strong acids? Well done. HCl2SO is the right choice.
Conducts electricity when dissolved in water. On track. Both is the correct answer. Acids react with metals to liberate dash gas. Bravo! Right is the answer. What color does blue litmus turn with acids? Great thinking. Red-pink is the right choice. What is the effect of acids on litmus paper? You got it? Your choice, it turns red, is right. Cleaning products are more likely to be dash. Correct. Bases is the right answer. Bromothymol, blue turns what color in acids? Solid response. Yellow is a valid choice. When acids are dissolved in water, they form. You chose H, and it is correct. What color does litmus paper turn for acids? Excellent choice. Red is the right answer. Lemon juice and vinegar are examples of dash. On track. Weak acids is the correct answer. What color are strong bases on the Fa scale? Strong choice. Blue is the right answer. Bases produce dash ions in aqueous solutions. Good job. Hydroxide works well here. What do acids ionize in solution to produce? You got it. Your choice H+ ions is right. Reacts with metal carbonates to form CO2 gas. Nicely done. Acids is a solid answer. In a Bronsted-Lowry reaction, acids turn into? Nice selection. Conjugate bases is the correct and valid answer. Bases make dash ions when dissolved in water. Well done. Hydroxide is the right choice. All solutions that fall between 0 and 6.9 are. Well picked. Acids is the correct answer. Oranges contain citric acid. Acids taste dash. You're right, SAW is the correct answer. When acids react with bases, it is called dash. Great job. Neutralization is the accurate answer. Which dissolves in water and creates alkalis? Bravo. Bases is the answer. The polyatomic ion chart is needed to name. Right choice. Oxyacids is the best answer. What type of taste will bases generally have? Smart move. Bitter is an accurate answer. Aqueous solutions of bases have a dash taste. Exactly. Bitter makes sense. These can burn you if they are strong enough. Smart pick. Acids and bases is the correct choice. Bases, on the other hand, are dash like soap. Perfect. Slippery is the correct choice. Strong acids turn dash in universal indicator. Nice work. You chose red, and it is correct. A combination of cations and anions form dash. Sharp thinking. Salts is the right choice. What do all bases produce or release in water? Right again. O-ounds is a valid answer. What is produced when acids react with metals? Correct response. Hydrogen gas is the most accurate answer. What determines hydrangea flowers' bloom color? Good thinking. Acids is the right answer. Where are the strongest bases and acids found? Great thinking. On both ends is the right choice. pH is the measure of the concentration of dash.
Well reasoned. H plus iron is the correct choice. The strongest acids have a Fles that is close to.
Valid point, so is true. The formula for the conjugate base of HCO3 is... Clear logic. Your choice CO32 tags acids and bases is sound. Litmus and cabbage juice are examples of what?
Excellent. Indicators is a brilliant choice. How you will get all these quiz questions in PDF books format?
Right choice. Contact Narayan Changda is the best answer.